Oh, you're recording? Don't even tell me you're recording, Jay. We take a week off and we just throw everything out the window,
Bro, that's
right?
how we've done it.
Listen, bro. We should intro this right away, though, right? Because we're in a different place. We got a guest. Let's intro this out the gate.
Let's do it.
You are now tuned in to Respect the Connect. I'm your host, Johnny James, and I'm back in a new location with a few of my nearest and dearest. Jay took a week off last week. Trav's in the building. What's poppin', Jay?
Bro, man, everything's popping today.
Everything's popping today.
These are popping today, I should say.
Chicharrones poppin'. Landwords is in the building.
Yes.
What's poppin', Landwords?
The chicharrones.
The chicharrones are popping.
The grease is popping.
And
That's how
as
you
you
know.
can see, we're joined by a very special guest today. Chef Marc Quiñones is in the building. Episode 107. Make some motherfucking noise, Jay.
Yes.
Man, we're in a restaurant. I don't need to yell that
Yeah, I don't think you do, bro.
Chill out.
No.
I'm excited, bro. We've been wanting to do this episode for a while. My brother Marc, thank you for allowing us access into your really dope restaurant, my brother.
Well, thank you for blessing us with your presence, my friend.
Man.
We're happy to have you.
Say less, my brother. We've been wanting to do this for a while. It's funny, Doc, because I always tell a story of when we first met, when I was over there at level 5 and I went for a meeting, right? It was interesting because I went and they were kind of like trying to flex, right? They were like, oh, we're going to take him to this fancy restaurant. It's got a good view of the city. Boom, trying to flex on me, right? They're going to we're going to buy him a meal, like just trying to flex and, you know, you know how business is.
Yep.
And Marc comes out. He's like, my brother, I'm a fan of what you do. Everybody put the menus away. And it turned into them trying to flex on me. And I was like, what's up? What happened, dog? I thought you were about to buy me a meal. What's going down? So, yeah, my brother, yeah, thank you for pulling up, dog. Thank you for what you do, my dog. Yeah, the chicharrones were fire, by the way.
Thank you, sir.
So let's start here, my dog. How long have you been cooking?
Well, my first job, believe it or not, I was 14 years old at the Wendy's here on University in Central.
You started your whole chef. Well, I'm gonna move your mic over a little bit for you, my brother. You started your whole chef experience at the Wendy's.
Yeah. So I moved here in June of '94. I was 13 years old.
Damn.
I went to the middle school next door, Washington Middle School. That's where I met Lisa at. When I was 14, I got a worker's permit, and I was taking the bus up there on Central and University to the Wendy's.
That's great.
I was going to Albuquerque High. So then I transferred to the Wendy's in Old Town.
A little better.
Yeah, a little bit.
A little better. You know what I'm saying?
No, check this out. This is a true story. In high school, I worked the fast food gamut. KFC, I was a delivery driver.
Oh, shit.
I got fired from Taco Bell on Gibson and San Mateo.
Hold up. How the fuck you get fired from Taco Bell and Gibson and San Mateo, bro?
Talking
They let
back-
everybody work there.
Talking back to the manager.
Oh, okay, cool. He was pressed.
Yeah.
I probably got his chick's number too, huh? Get this guy out of here.
No, goodness, at McDonald's. You know, so believe it or not, I started, at the most humble, start point you can in fast food.
That's wild.
Yeah, before I even went back to New York to start washing dishes, that's what I was doing here in Albuquerque.
That's crazy, dog. So were you at Wendy's and you're like, you know what? This is my pasión right here.
Oh, 100%.
Man, that's wild, bro.
Yeah.
Did you start cooking before like that job? Were you cooking at home and stuff? Or?
Yeah, well, back in New York City in the Bronx, growing up, my mom and my grandma were always in the kitchen throwing
So that's
down.
where you were born.
Yes, sir.
You were born in the Bronx.
The Bronx, New York.
Okay. Before we get too far ahead of ourselves, how'd you end up out here from the? That's East Coast, way the fuck over here.
Well, I'll tell you a small little anecdote. If you were to Google Marc Quiñones, you're going to see one of two people, me or my cousin. He's a famous drummer. Spent many, many years with a band called the Allman Brothers Band, the rock and roll band.
Yeah.
He's in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. He's currently with the band called the Doobie Brothers.
Yeah.
Wow.
That's
And
fucking awesome.
in the salsa and Latin jazz community, he's an absolute goat.
Damn.
So his father came here in 1976. At the time, his ex-wife had a scholarship to UNM. He came out here with her. So we had family ties to New Mexico since before I was even born in the 70s. So we came out here when I was younger, and that's kind of how that whole process began.
So he's making your Google SEO situation a little difficult. Like, come on, dog, chill out, bro. Like, they don't know. That's cool that you're cousins, though. At least it's not just some random Mark.
Yeah, no,
right?
we're blood.
That's
Yeah, his
good,
dad's out
bro.
here, so
Man,
absolutely.
That's wild. I've had a lot of people tell me that they feel like New Mexico, Albuquerque specifically, is kind of like similar to like the Bronx and Brooklyn out there in New York, like similar ways of like conducting yourselves. So a lot of people that move from New York, they get out here and it's not as much as a culture shock because they're used to that level of culture.
That's a great observation, and I agree. Let me tell you why, my man. So everyone's always like, man, the Bronx or Albuquerque. I go, let me tell you, a legitimate argument could be made that it's Albuquerque's more dangerous. Like it's real out here.
Yeah.
And I've always learned when I was younger, like it's not where you're from, it's where you're at.
1,000%, bro.
Right, which is why we do New Mexican ranch cuisine here at the restaurant, is because I might be from the Bronx, raised there, learned so much, but New Mexico made me the chef and man that I am today.
That's
that's just the bottom line. Mm-hmm. Coming here when I was 13, I knew right away to give respect. Because if you come from a real environment, you know where you're at.
For sure.
So I mean, it was always taught to me like put respect out, and you're probably gonna get respect back.
Oh, 1,000%.
And go ahead, sir.
Yeah, I don't think people understand that a lot of times you get what you give out there, right? Mm-hmm. Not every time. There's always the X factors that are out there, right? You could be respectful as, the most respectful person on the face of the earth, and you're still going to run into some shitheads sometimes. But 9 times out of 10, if you put that foot forward, especially if you're in a new place, dog. If you're in a new place, it doesn't matter where you're from, my dog. You're not there anymore, bro. Mm-hmm. You're at it's a whole new game, bro. So if you lead with respect, it's going to open doors that it might not if you come in if you would have been like, oh yeah, bro, fuck Albuquerque, dog. I'm from the Bronx, bro. What's up? What do you guys know about New York? It would have hindered your growth out here instantaneously.
Oh yeah, I'd have got my ass kicked.
Same thing, vice versa. Same thing, vice versa. Though. If say you were from here and you moved to the Bronx, and you would have been, oh, bro, Budke, what's cracking? They'd have thrown your ass down in the subway real quick.
Yeah.
So when you're moving around like that, dog, you got to be aware of your surroundings. And we say this all the time, bro. Just don't be a shitty person. If you're a good person, bro, you're probably gonna be all right.
And you never know who you're talking to, bro.
True.
You never know who you're talking to on that subway. You know what I mean? Shit.
Well, the older I get, the more I'm convinced that you're safest in the quote-unquote hood. I really feel that way.
Yeah.
Because if you're waking up in the morning and you're putting love out there and you're pounding that pavement in an honest way, it doesn't matter where you're at. You're not going to attract negative energy. Mm-hmm. And typically, like when you're in, again, the quote-unquote hood or whatever even that means, it's the most honest, blue-collar, hardworking. They're not even worried about you.
Yeah.
They're trying to get to where they're going, trying to get back home, trying to figure it out.
They're struggling on their own enough.
100%.
Mm-hmm. And I mean, they're going to worry about you when you make them worry about you. If you're out here being a fucking idiot.
Right. Absolutely.
And a shithead. Every time I go somewhere else that isn't home, I think at the end of the day, brother, it's authenticity, right? If you are yourself, no matter where you go, it's going to get recognized. That phrase we all say, real, recognize real. That sounds cool to say. But, I mean, there's some fucking truth in it, right? Because real recognize real, and it also recognizes bullshit. I've said that's a sixth sense we have down here as Nuevo Mexicanos. We have a good sense of bullshit, my dog. And sometimes we'll let you rock with your bullshit for a little while just to see how far you're going to take your bullshit. Because it's like, I see you, my dude. I see what you're doing. I'm on to your games. Let's see. I'll give you just enough rope to hang yourself.
Yeah. Your fake mustache is coming off. Bro.
Yeah, dog. Your little pencil drawn on mustache coming off. So Wendy's, my brother. So Wendy's, that's funny, bro. That's that. I did not expect that. I thought you were going to be like, yeah, he was in the kitchens of Istanbul. Like I expected like Wendy's out here in Budke.
Well, it kind of goes there, but it started. I mean, I won't lie to you. I don't, because people out here know me anyway. So I'm like, let me just tell the truth.
Yeah.
I started at the Wendy's on University.
Yeah, and
that's somebody out here worked with me there.
That's a wild Wendy's, bro.
No, Mark, you were at Wendy's, dude. There's gonna be some picture that shows up. So
one of the homegirls used to work there, bro, and man, we one New Year's we ended up with all the free Wendy's. I ain't incriminated nobody, dog, but that was a good New Year's, bro. All the free Wendy's, all the free cash in the cash register. It was pretty nice, dog.
Oh, damn, dude.
I'm just kidding, bro. This is for entertainment purposes only. So once you decided, man, I think I'm a chef. How long till you actually like started dialing it in, bro? Like when did you start like, okay, this is the goal, this is my path, and this is how I have to get there?
It happened right after high school immediately.
Really?
I went back to New York City. I was living back in the Bronx on Hunts Point Avenue, And my first, I would say, real kitchen job was on 1 Wall Street on the Bank of New York headquarters in the basement.
Damn.
Now they call those the tunnels. If you know, you know. You walk in, you go down the escalators into the bottom level, and you have the employee dining area, and it's a massive cafeteria that probably feeds, I don't know, I'm guessing 2,000-3,000 people.
Holy shit.
And then beneath that, you have in the basement, you have the dishwashing area, and it goes forever. So nonetheless, that's where I began, on 1 Wall Street, the Bank of New York headquarters.
Washing dishes.
Yes, sir. And then from there, I went to on 41st Street in Pershing, right in back of Park Avenue. You ever heard of the tobacco company, Philip Morris?
Yeah.
So their headquarters are in Manhattan. So I did work there as well in their cafeteria.
That's wild.
Doing dishes, prep. And then I went to Rockefeller Center over there on, I think it was 51st and 6th Avenue at the time.
Man.
And that's where I began to really get into the craft of cooking, asking a lot of questions, working overtime, working on my days off. And believe it or not, the chef that I was working for, he had a sister who was living in Gallup, New Mexico. This is a true story,
Always
my brother.
connected, bro. It's
100%. And I was always talking about Albuquerque. I'm like, yo, Albuquerque's real. It's dope. I went to high school out there. They're great people, because it's true.
Yeah.
Love Albuquerque. My mom's out there. The chef was like, yo, don't go to the cooking school here in New York. There's a Le Cordon Bleu in Scottsdale, Arizona. It's about a 7-hour drive or an hour plane ride right outside of Phoenix. Your mom's in Albuquerque. You got family and friends out there, and you're going to learn classic French cuisine in the southwest part of the U.S. with your New York background.
Oh, bro.
So I took that advice and ran with it. So I moved to Arizona, went to culinary school, I ended up graduating with a 4.0.
Holy shit.
I always say one of the most, I guess looking at me, most people would never guess. I always say I'm a Puerto Rican nerd. Because I graduated at the top of my class, and I always took my academics very serious. Because on a real note, I understood that my goals weren't going to matter if I wasn't academically sound.
For sure. 100%. Well, and I think it's interesting, bro, that you use the word nerd, right? Because when we were younger, there was this Steve Urkel connotate, not cool type of level to it, right? Yeah. And it's interesting to watch it shift. It's interesting now to watch being intelligent be fucking cool, right?
Yep.
Which sounds fucking ridiculous, bro. It really does. But don't you guys remember, when we were kids, it wasn't really cool, bro. I'm smart. I read books. Get the fuck out of here. I'm gonna beat your ass, right? We were so enamored with looking cool that we would sometimes dumb ourselves down just to fit in, just to go with the stream, bro. Which to me, it's interesting because I remember the moment I had that aha moment. I was trying my hardest to fit in, dog. It was probably about 8th grade, and I wanted to be with who doesn't want to be with the cool kids, dog?
Of course.
So I was and it just wasn't working. They weren't I'm like, what the fuck am I doing wrong here? Is it my shoes? Is it my face? What the fuck is it that's wrong?
Is it my face?
And then finally, I stopped trying to fit in with those motherfuckers, and I was just being myself. And that's when all of a sudden, people thought I was fucking cool. I still ain't fucking cool, dog, but they thought I was cool, right? I always cared about my intelligence. To me, that was important because I just seen the world differently. So for me, I wanted to gain as much knowledge in any place and any facet of life that I could. To me, that was fucking cool, right? Back then, though, you know what I'm saying? It wasn't looked at as cool. Now, shit, if you ain't trying to be intelligent, you're not cool. It's weird. It's weird how it shifted.
I think it's a beautiful thing.
I think so too.
We need more of that.
I agree.
Growing up, and you're right, I think there was a certain shame or embarrassment on being too smart.
Yeah.
But to me it was I grew up poor, so I'm nah, I want to be smart. I don't want to, I'm going to get out of this. Smart's,
it's way better than poor, dog, for sure. Because the same here, bro. I wanted to do anything I could to get out of that shit.
That's why I started working early. I was living right here on 13th Street, right here in Barelas.
Yeah.
Middle school, Washington Middle School, right next door. Walking to school every day. And I loved it out here. Because coming out here from New York City, it was very different, geographically, right? What you see when you walk outside of your house every day is just dramatically different out here. So I loved it. And I felt very comfortable here. I felt very well received by the locals. I've always said, New Mexico adopted my entire family for the most part.
That's
we've made it an amazing memories and an impact right here because of the reception that we've received. And I think you nailed it earlier, my brother. You said, the authenticity of Albuquerque, of New Mexico, was it's as real as the Bronx is.
Yep.
So coming out here was a very natural. I just felt, all right, cool. I'm real. You're real.
Easy.
Who cares if we're different culturally? We have the same goal, just to figure out how to take it further.
For sure, bro. It's that. I'm telling you, that authenticity.
Yeah, it's called fighting the good fight.
Oh yeah, and that too, right? Authentic and putting your best foot forward, bro. Because again, like you hit the nail on the head. Coming from a background where we didn't have a lot, like it was a struggle. And me thinking back, like I really didn't give a shit about the other people that were like, I wasn't looking at somebody judging them or worrying about what the fuck they were doing because I was in my own struggle. I was trying to get out of that.
Yeah.
I wanted my family to be in a better position. So I didn't have time to worry about all the other shit. So when someone's authentically real to you and you realize that they're in the same position as you, it's like, all right, let's go. Yep. Let's move forward.
And that's when magic happens.
I agree, dog. I agree. And it's interesting you said you went to Scottsdale when you had you probably could have, sounds like you could have went it wherever you wanted to go, realistically. Sounds like you had the mindset and the ability to go wherever you wanted to go. So you feel getting your degree there made you really unique as far as like chefing goes.
Absolutely. I've always known I was a little different, right? Just, being Puerto Rican, Dominican, being a transplant, going to high school in Albuquerque, I'm homegrown as much here as I am back in New York. So when I went to Arizona, I'll be flat out with you. I was the only one who looked like me in my class. You know what I mean? So I said, wow, okay, now we're in practicals, we're taking exams, and everyone's asking me questions. I go, so I'm like one of the smartest dudes in this class. Halfway through, I go, I'm the smartest dude in this class. And I'm like, so I began to apply my real world, experience to the classroom. And next thing you knew, it's just kind of like, all right, this is literally just a piece of paper to legitimize what I know in my heart I'm really about.
For sure.
But in today's society, someone who looks like you and I, especially in a corporate world, to not be credentialed, you're gonna, it's good luck.
Oh. It's already an uphill battle.
1,000,000%.
And if you don't got the credentials to back it up, then you're like, get this fucking dude the fuck out.
You're not lying.
They ain't gonna want to give you the shot in the first place.
They won't give you the shot. So I got that quote unquote piece of paper, President's List 4.0.
Damn.
But then it was about, all right, now that I have this, I just want to cook. I want to spend time with my craft, working on this concept, being engaged with my team. And that's when the leadership came into place, about being present, being engaged, and literally, doing everything that has to be done organically to where every single person on your team knows that you're there for the right reasons, and even know that you're there to help them before you are yourself.
For sure. I think that's a big deal. I say this shit all the time. You see like images of leaders and they're up on the hill and they're sending all their soldiers down to go and fight, right? Fuck that. I've never been that kind of leader, bro. I want to be, bro. Give me the sword, dog.
Yes.
Let's lead this charge, bro.
Like some General Patton type stuff.
You feel what I'm saying? I feel like you get better results that way because if you're not willing to do the work that you're trying to divvy up to your soldiers, how are they ever going to fully engage with you? How are they ever going to fully respect you as a leader if they know you lead from behind? Nah, dog. I want to be right there, bro. Let's get bloody, dog. You're not lying, man. Braveheart. What was his name?
Oh,
Braveheart?
Yeah, what was the name of the guy? Not Mel Gibson, but who he was playing.
I was about to say.
They called him
William Wallace.
William Wallace, dog.
The ghost.
That kind of lead, the ghost.
The
that
ghost.
kind of leader, bro. Lead from the front. I think when you do that, you inspire people because they'll probably look at you, right? 4.0. Could have went wherever you wanted to. Decided that you wanted to step in and be a leader, but you were leading in that way. I guarantee you inspired people in your kitchen to say, well, if he's willing to get his fucking hands dirty, so am I.
That's absolutely why. Was why we opened Next Novo. I had almost 15 straight years in luxury hotels. I've been super blessed out here. It's 5 years at Sandia Resort and Casino.
Damn.
Almost 6 at the Andalus. I ended up at Hotel Chaco where, you know, that's where you and I met,
Yeah.
like you mentioned earlier in the podcast. And, I mean, it's stunning in there. You want for nothing from a resource standpoint. Until I met the owner of Ex Novo, Joe Gregory, and we began talking about the fact that he purchased a property on 7th and Central next door to my middle school.
Wow.
In the neighborhood that I grew up in, and I go, I'm in.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I go, I'm 100% with you. Because this was, it was not going to be about, this was going to be about Albuquerque. It was going to be for New Mexico, by New Mexico. Right? So like, you know, me coming out here when I was 13, in this, I mean, literally like a quarter mile. You know, we're both runners.
Yeah.
You know, you get there in less than 2 minutes.
Easy. Cakewalk.
To have a chance just to do this, I was like, pass or fail, win or lose. It's about doing something that's one. I mean, honestly, for you, Johnny James, for you guys, you know, something that you could feel comfortable coming down here. You know, we're breaking down this crazy, stupid idea that nobody wants to go downtown. That's BS.
Yeah.
We're packed 7 nights a week.
That's
You know,
That's-
that
bro,
says
this
that,
place is-
that's a false
This is
narrative.
beautiful. Look at this,
Well,
bro.
there's a lot of
Yeah.
false narratives they try to paint on us too,
Yeah.
which really pisses me off.
Yeah.
We talk about that shit all the
Yeah,
time.
it's horrible.
I refuse to accept that shit anymore, dog. Fuck all that. And again, it goes to sometimes it felt cool to say that shit, right?
Yeah.
Like sometimes when I was out of state, I'm like, yeah, #1 in crime, bitch. The fuck you want to do about it? And in my young brain, I thought that was cool, dog. Guess what, bro? That's not fucking cool, man. We have so much more here culturally, right? Why the fuck would we be proud that we're #1 in that bullshit? Because there's so much more to us than that.
You're not lying. And if you travel, right, and I've been blessed, I'm sure you have to get out there and see what's going on. Like, we're not as unique. We're more unique than I think maybe anybody on the globe. Forget the country.
Wild, bro.
You know, so like, I go, they go, is downtown safe? Of course it is.
Yeah.
Ain't nobody bothering anybody down here. You know, if you see something like anywhere else, mind your business, keep walking. No one's going to bother you. They're already having a bad day.
Yeah.
But there's nobody here waiting in a corner to attack anybody. They're not going to jump on you or
No,
steal from you. Like,
exactly.
I don't see any of that. I've been working down here almost 10 years.
That's
I grew up here. I
Brother,
love downtown.
the fact that you said this is that close to where that the universe, God, whatever word you want to use for the higher, the ether, right?
It's God for me.
You know what I mean? Whatever word is your word, right, is loud. When you like, what are the chances, bro, that you move from New York, you end up here, where you end up, you go to school where you end up, and then all these years later, through everything that you did in your you know, time as being a chef, that you end up right back here. I mean, come on, dog. When the universe, when God is talking that loud, it's kind of hard not to hear it.
Well, want to hear something crazy? I felt like I knew it.
Really?
I saw it, you know, years ago. I said, I'm going to end up back now. I'm going to be here downtown like this. It's going to happen here, you know, and I don't have to, you know, you want to know something that pisses me off when everyone's like, oh, I'm going to introduce Albuquerque to ABC XYZ.
Mm-hmm.
I go, what if we introduce you to Albuquerque?
Oh,
We're like, what if we show you what our vegetables are about? Our wild game, our flavors, our culture. And I say our because I fall, you know, again, I might be from New York, but I was made here for sure.
Oh, dog, come on.
You know, so I make sure I put that out there time and time again because, you know, the Lord keeps sending me out there to compete on a national level. You know, and I'm out there cooking your food, the food of your ancestors. You know, through my scope, I get it. You know, but the respect and the honor for New Mexico, I got to tell you, it's pure and genuine.
I can tell. Honestly, I could tell not just in your passion, the way you speak about it, but the way you cook, my brother. Like I'm saying, like it was funny to watch when they went. I'm telling you, they took me to that meeting to flex because they wanted, you know, it was a whole cannabis industry situation, and they wanted to flex on me, which is cool. I mean, that's how business goes, right?
Right.
When you took the air out of the room and they didn't have the ability to flex, and you didn't even realize that you turned the tables on them, dog. I was like, so what's up? What's up? But I could tell in the food, my brother, that you have a passion for the food from here, and you can tell, dog. Like it's in it. Food is a love language, dog. Food is art, and food comes from the soul, right? That's why sometimes whenever my tia, bro, always, you can always tell when she's pissed off when she made the chili. Because that shit's harder than fuck. Bruh. Every single time my auntie Juana makes a red chili and she's pissed, no one can eat it. It's like, damn. As a kid, I was like, that's ridiculous. But as an adult, I'm like, there might be something to that. It's a transfer of emotions, bro. So you can tell that you care about what you're doing, dog. So since we're here and we're talking about the food of our ancestors, and this has to be one of the most important questions that I ask a chef, my brother. You ready?
I'm ready.
Red or green?
Red.
Bam, that's two chefs in a row, dog.
Yeah.
2 in a row. Now I got to ask you, why, my brother? Why do you choose red over green?
It's versatility.
It's versatility?
You know, for example, well, here
Oh,
comes
look,
Chef
we
Megan.
got food coming in right now. Look at this. Oh,
So
man.
here we have the Berkshire pork belly with the Native American Anasazi bean ragu and toasted corn.
Oh, man.
And these are the patatas bravas. They're twice cooked potatoes with Chimayo, New Mexico red chili aioli.
Bro.
Oh my goodness.
Here we have a jalapeno vinaigrette and a red chili ranch dressing.
That's
Bro.
crazy,
So
my
it's
brother.
so honestly, as Chef Megan's coming up here, I'm able to illustrate to you
Why?
Yeah.
That was so what I'm saying, dog. The universe is loud, brother. We're at the right place at the right time doing exactly what we need to do. Right. So the versatility of red. You just said that's Chimayo red mixed with what?
aioli. So
Aioli.
it's egg yolk, lemon juice, olive oil, Chimayo red chili, garlic, and a few other secrets.
Bro.
And this is buttermilk, red chili, lemon,
This is
sugar.
crazy.
Now, don't get me wrong. I love green chili.
So do I.
It's super versatile, but the red chili, the way you're able to apply it in like a nuanced way, or like as a highlighted ingredient, like here we had before with chicharrones, you're really able to feature the bandwidth that it brings to the table. You can do 1,000 things with it, and really give it. To me, this is what I would call a world-class platform. Right, so we're taking things like, and this is really important, I think, to your viewers, respectfully, to understand why do I call it New Mexican Ranch cuisine specifically, and you have to really this is where the education comes in. You have to understand where we are on the map geographically. We're anywhere from 4,500 feet up to 10,300 feet elevation. So just from a perspective of being unique, there might not be anywhere else. Come on, chef, come on over.
Oh,
please,
yeah,
thank
bring
you.
it.
So this,
Oh, man.
Goodness.
this features red and green chili. You have green chili lo mein noodles. You have Tucumcari New Mexico cheddar cheese, red chili soy sauce, right? So 100 years ago, your ancestors, by necessity, right, were walking outside. Your Theo's walking outside going, what am I going to eat? Well, I'm at 5,000, 6,000 feet elevation. I walk outside and, I'm going to kill a buffalo or an elk or a wild chicken or a pig. And without having any refrigeration, what would he or she do? Well, he'd pack the chili on it, right? Chili, salt, sugar to cure it from stopping it from spoiling.
Spoiling, yeah.
And not having an oven, he'd cook them in kettles in the ground. So here at Ex Novo means from scratch. It's a Latin term for from scratch, or never having before been done. And that's from our owner, Joe Gregory. But the fact that the universe brought us together, we have a 100% scratch kitchen. And now you're talking about the fact that we're taking those ancestral anecdotes and applying them to beautiful, fine china.
I mean, look, bro,
Yeah,
this is...
An artistic approach, but the flavors will take you back 100 years ago.
My great probably had no fucking clue that him doing that out of necessity was going to turn into what you've turned
That's what I
into.
say, is New Mexicans by necessity were rancheros.
Yeah.
They were ranchers 100 years ago. So now just taking what they were doing and giving it the utmost respect and technique, applying education. And, I do respectfully really feel like God gifted me with the artistry. So that comes naturally. But the work is in researching the ingredient, understanding how to apply it. And here we got pork belly, potatoes, egg roll skins, pork, and chicken.
My brother, I'm going straight to these egg rolls, dog. These look crazy, brother.
Let's see what you think as a local
Seriously,
homegrown.
As a local homegrown.
Man, this looks amazing, bro. I was almost like, should I get the camera and get some footage of it before?
Bro. That's really good, dog.
So that cheddar cheese, thank you so much, is from Tucumcari, 2 hours east of here. The
That's
chili, an
wild.
hour and a half north of here. So again, we're really honoring New Mexico right now, but we're putting it. It looks beautiful, right? You put
It
that
really
plate.
does.
You could be in LA right now, but it tastes like what? Like New Mexico,
It tastes like home.
and that's the goal.
That's so wild. Like the way that you've taken our cuisine and like you said, you could be in LA right now, and elevated it to this is kind of crazy. I guarantee my great whatever the fuck had no idea, right? No way. He was just doing it because he had to, right? And that goes to how we are as a culture and how we are as a people.
But they lived and died on those principles that gave us a chance to tell this story.
For sure.
Right, or the way you do it through your style or through food. Nonetheless, we're waking up every day with the purpose to do it honorable. And I think there will come, like you said, it's a boomerang effect. What you put out is going to come back to you.
Bro. Hey, I know I said I don't like eating on the podcast. I don't give a fuck. Hey, I'm gonna have Jay, turn it down a little bit so I don't sound like with that episode with Joe Rogan and Elon Musk where they're smacking lips with pizza. This ain't fucking pizza. Let me just tell y'all right now. Bomb. Holy shit, bro. Okay, so bunch of years at hotels. Well, not hotels.
Yeah.
Hotels.
Luxury.
Like luxury hotels. That's the word I was looking for. Thank you, Jason. Bunch of years at luxury hotels where you had whatever you wanted. You seen this opportunity and you jumped on it right away.
It was the easiest yes in my career. Because I just knew, I was like, this is it. Like, again, you and I met at the castle over there.
It is.
To be honest.
Yeah.
But
the view's amazing over there.
But the idea of to be able to do it for the people, again, and this where it makes my skin crawl when people say such mean things about downtown. I just don't agree with it. I think they're fundamentally wrong and uneducated. So to be able to for better or worse, lend my platform here, and then Joel and bringing Ex Novo downtown, and doing it for the right reasons, putting in the work.
Yeah.
Putting the team first. It gives us a chance just to tell your story.
So how long you guys been open?
We opened, I believe it was August 12th, the beginning of August, so not even a full year.
No, I was about to say, you guys ain't even had a full year.
And it's been 7 nights a week packed.
Great, the food, the atmosphere for sure, right? For sure. You notice it right when you walk in. And again, bro, I don't care what anybody says. Bro, it's fucking legendary and historic to be on Central, bro. That's legendary.
This is a Firestone tire shop, right?
Yeah, I was just about to say that.
They'd have the tires up here hanging out upstairs.
We used to cruise right here, flip around right here. They'd set up vendors right, dog. Like the fact that we're in here right now and it was the Firestone is adding to how trippy this is for me, bro. But for you to set up shop right here, for one, that's a big deal, right? Because again, you probably could have gone wherever the fuck you wanted to. The fact that you decided to do it here says a lot. What you're doing with the cuisine also says a lot. You're elevating it because you said it makes your skin crawl when people talk shit about downtown. It makes my skin crawl when I'll post something about food and someone's like, oh man, the New Mexico Mexican food is so nasty. For one, I tell them, my dude, it's not Mexican food, okay? For one, so you're
Right.
wrong there,
Correct.
right? And you obviously didn't eat at the right spot, my guy. I don't know who pissed in your Cheerios or why you're so pissed off, but I've eaten food all over the place, brother. And I'll put our dishes and our cuisine up against anybody.
Flat out, easily.
For real, because it's so diverse. I don't see when people say that. I think they hear New Mexico and they expect it that it's just Mexican cuisine, which is amazing too, right? Ours is so different because, like you said it yourself, we're so different. Our food is a blend of the Spaniard and indigenous together. I think people don't realize how many Pueblo indigenous natives that we had down here versus the Pueblo indigenous natives that were in Mexico. You feel what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
There's a difference.
Well, there's that cultural difference, and then there's the fact that, again, geographically, they cannot equalize what we do.
Exactly.
They can't.
Yep.
So, for me, I just have the understanding of that. Again, that's my education coming into play. I have to ride that angle.
Yeah.
It's so the science behind where we are on the map needs to play into this food.
It's interesting you said that because
That's
I've
awesome,
been.
bro.
It's interesting you said that because
awesome.
I've been talking to a lot of people that we've been growing, bringing in for cannabis, right? And so many of them are so excited to grow down here because we sit in a similar space to where Afghanistan sits, right? Which I haven't looked at it, but
Yeah,
I've heard people
it's
tell me this
true.
a couple of times,
It's
right?
true.
So when we were younger, we all heard about the Afghani Kush. Everybody was like,
Oh,
"Oh,
yeah.
man, that Afghani shit's
Afghan,
fire."
yeah.
It's because of where they are. They're specific, right? So we sit there. So a lot of these growers that want to come in, they're excited to grow here because of the potential that the cannabis has because it's so different. That's why our green chili and our red chili is found nowhere else.
Slaps
I
on
love
everybody.
y'all, Colorado. I love y'all, Pueblo, but get the fuck out of here. Get the fuck out of here, bro. It's good. It's not this, except
Not
no
the same.
substitutes.
Yes, it's not the same.
It's not the same.
It's not. And even other like squash, cabbage, eggplant.
different.
It comes out. And it has a very unique texture to it.
Yeah.
And it kind of like presents a platform just to like be a sponge for flavor. So when you start applying not just red or green chili, but like different flavor profiles, and you put it on just a white canvas. I always say the story tells itself. That had nothing to do with Marc Quiñones at all. This is about New Mexico.
Man, bro.
I'm just a steward of the ingredients.
So when okay, so
Every time he looks over here, bro, I'm chewing something. I'm like eating something else.
So these potatoes right here, we cooked them for 2 hours submerged in olive oil,
Oh, yeah.
Damn.
oregano, garlic, and then we fry it in the same oil.
you can always tell when the red chili comes from Chimayo. It's I mean,
It has that golden hue to it.
and it's got that. There's like an earthy,
Absolutely.
taste to it
For sure.
versus the red chili that we get down. Shout out to Hatch and everybody down there too. Shout out to all the spots that grow down there. But there's something about that Chimayo red, bro.
Yeah.
It's in the
It's
dirt.
special.
It's
It's
special.
very
for
special.
Sure. All right, it's again, except no substitutes. When did you? So, once you graduated, where did you end up after that?
After Le Cordon Bleu.
After graduation?
So I ended up in Hawaii.
Really?
Yeah, I was living on Kona at the time. And I was out there briefly, and that's remember the MySpace era?
Oh yeah, of course.
Yeah,
I was rapping then,
that's-
so that's helped me blow up.
So that's actually when. So I met Lisa, and we were 13 at the middle school, Washington, and then we kind of fell out of contact. During high school, I kind of went back to New York, went to Arizona, and when I was living on Kona, that's when her and I reconnected via MySpace.
That's crazy, bro.
So
MySpace.
So that's I came back to New Mexico in 2007. To be honest, I've been back ever since.
Nice.
And that's where right away my goal was to. I'll tell you a fun anecdote. When I came back, it was I remember that '08 was when we hit a recession.
Yeah.
Right, things had gotten really bad economically, and I was working at Maloney's Tavern right here on 5th and Central.
Oh man, I was down there. Wow, I'm
Maloney's,
glad we
yeah.
didn't meet then.
Well, so
I was down there being an idiot.
Well, I took a job there as kitchen manager, and that's where I still have multiple individuals in this kitchen that were working with me there 17, 18 years ago.
Oh,
Really?
Shit.
So I got there, but I knew I wanted to work at Sandia Casino at the time. So I was like, I'm working at a sports bar talking about just get me an audition. Just get me an audition. So I got an audition. I was able to go to Sandia, cook, and long story short, I ended up being there for almost 5 years before going to Santa Fe, where I commuted for almost 3 years straight.
Damn.
I was downtown at the Inn and Spa at Loretto, downtown Santa Fe.
Fire.
Almost 3 years there as the executive chef before coming back to Albuquerque. And, it's been in New Mexico now for, again, almost 18 straight years.
That's a long time, bro. Hey, listen.
So that's what the story is. It's all about your food.
You're Nuevo Mexicano.
For sure.
Brother. If someone want to fucking argue about it, bro, send them my direction.
I will. No,
Send
because
them my
let me tell
direction,
you,
bro.
man. I always tell them, I'm like, hey, I'm here. I'm just here cooking your food.
It's yours too, dog.
Yes, sir.
Listen, send them my direction, dog. We'll have some fucking words, bro. Because it's just the one thing that I'm trying to fight against, and you've probably seen it in some of my fucking acts. People think it's just funny, but there's truth to it, right? The videos where I say, "Oh, so you think you're all bad now, or what?"
Oh, yeah.
Oh, you got a 4.0, oh, fucking genius. So you think you're all bad now, or what? You got a fucking restaurant down here on Center, so you think you're all... That shit pisses me off.
Must be nice.
Must be nice.
I can't lie.
Must be
Obviously,
nice.
like anybody who pays attention, I've dealt with that, and like real talk, man. Like I'll just for the heart, man. It's more and I don't want to sound weak, but hurtful.
Oh, it does hurt.
Because I'm like, my approach isn't coming from a place of like, I don't want to disrespect you, your culture, like the community. Like, I'm here to do right by a place that did right by me and my family.
This is what hard work gets you, bro.
For
You
sure.
started working at 14, bro.
Yeah, so like I love it out here, those things are uncomfortable, but I've learned that, I think love wins in the end.
Oh, it does.
And just being consistent and like not responding to that kind of stuff, not engaging, in the end, they'll figure out, wow, like this really was for us, by us.
For sure, dog.
And if that gets out, then the truth was revealed.
You know what though? It's the negative ones are the loudest, and there's not as many. But I'll use my platform and my ability to take the air out of that stupid ass shit, dog. I want to make it look just as dumb as it because it's fucking stupid, bro. Yeah. Just because somebody else is shining, it does not make you shine any less. Especially if they care about your culture, for one, right? They're not trying to gentrify your situation, marking in here like, hey, guys, time to get the fuck up out of here, dog. You know what I'm saying? Like, you're putting the time, energy, and effort to pay homage to the cuisine that was birthed out here while elevating it at the same time. And you've been out here so long. But the thing is we struggle down here so much, right? There really is low ceilings as far as industry goes. So I think people get this sense of, oh man, they're doing way better than me. They're doing more things than me. So I got to shit on them in some way, shape, or form. So I'm going to throw rocks. I'm going to throw rocks at something that's shining. And the easiest way to do it is, as dumb as it sounds, so you think you're all bad now or what? Oh, you got a restaurant. Oh man, you think you're all bad now or what? Your food is great. So my food's great too. I can make some Pop-Tarts. It's stupid. It sounds dumb as shit. But as you level up and you rise through these ranks of doing things where people see as successful, right? Their perception of success, they look at you like, fuck man. It's showing me where I'm inadequate in places I feel inadequate. So I got to throw some rocks at it. Yeah. And they use anything possible to try, right? Like, for example, brother, my ancestors go back out here since we fucking sprouted out of the ground, dog. Like, you can trace my lineage hundreds of years out here, right? I was born here in Albuquerque. I was out here almost every other weekend. I lived in San Fidel till I was like 12, right? Which is a little Spanish land grant right by Acoma Laguna. I've said this a bunch of times, but I haven't said it to you. That's where I lived, till I was like about 13. So it was me with a bunch of my native homies, you know what I'm saying, that were Acoma Laguna and stuff, and we rode the bus to Grants to go to school out there, right? So when people ask me where I'm from, I tell them I'm from New Mexico because I am, dog. I'm not just from Albuquerque, I'm not just from San Fidel, and I'm not just from Grants. I got to be raised in our biggest city, in the smallest little Spanish land grant town you could find, and another little town in Grants. I got the full experience of what it means to be raised in New Mexico, right? We had matanzas in my backyard, brother. So when people tell me, like, they'll be like, oh, he's not even from Grants, dog. He's not even from Burque, bro. He didn't go to school out here. That shit's stupid, dog. Because guess what? I'm from the whole motherfucker, bro. I represent the entire state, not just one part of it. We're too small to just represent one little aspect of it. And since I was raised in every fucking facet of it, I'm going to represent the whole fucking state, and whether they like it or not.
What does it matter where somebody's from? It's like if they're putting on for your state in a good way, why the fuck are you going to, try to take away from that?
Because you're showing them something that they are not doing.
I know, but
I know. You're putting light on their inadequacies. And they get pissed.
That's exactly what it is, but.
So again, if they say it, send them my way, dog.
All right, we'll do.
This shit fire, bro. Holy fuck. So you were out here pretty much the whole time. I thought you were going to say that you ended up going back out to New York. Like,
no, I've been grinding the axe.
I've been watching The Bear a lot lately, bro. So excuse me, right? That's like where my mind's at. I'm like, chef went out there and he was around a bunch of fucking crazy chefs, and it was like, chef this, and the grind is crazy. Have you seen that show?
Of course.
You like it?
I love it.
I figured. Yeah. I figured. It's fucking great. How true to that chef culture is that show?
It's pretty accurate.
Really?
I'll say, I always tell people, come hang out here any night of the week and just watch us at night. It's a zoo. What it takes logistically, just to run it and get everybody on the same page psychologically to put out this level of food, I mean, it starts at 5:30 in the morning every day for me.
Damn.
Just the process in general. Sometimes earlier, but nonetheless, parallel to the bear, the passion, the love, let's really, like that chicken wing, right? It's a jumbo wing. We make our own soy sauce. We cook the wing to a certain point in that brew. We pull it, we cool it, we fry it in grapeseed oil. We toss it in the. There's so many things that go into it, but at the end of the day, it's just a genuine effort to put out the best product that we can that tells a true story. We don't want to be like LA, New York, Chicago, or anywhere else, or Paris, London. We want to be like New Mexico, but respected at their level.
Right.
So to do that, we have to be tremendously disciplined in all that we do, right? Which is why I always talk about hydration in the kitchen, exercise, doing all the little things the right way, because as you level up, and not just in this industry, but in life, as you know, we were talking about this earlier. It comes down to who does the little things at a high level, day in and day out, as if it's a natural reaction.
Yep. My grandpa used to tell me, mijo, the way you do anything is the way you'll do everything.
Yep.
And I thought he was just, I've said this a bunch of times, I thought he was just saying some real cool fucking Yoda shit. Right? As a kid, I'm like, yeah, okay, grandpa. But he, like, seriously, he used to tell me, mijo, look at the way that one of the workers at the bar, look at the way she sweeps the floor. Look at that. Bullshit. You can tell almost everything you need to know about a person by the way they sweep a floor. So right back to what you're saying, it's the way you do the little things, bro. They compound on themselves.
Oh, big time.
Big time.
And then I think the older you get, the more you figure that out. It's like, wow, like wow. So if I just head down, focus, watch my behaviors, just the little things.
Yep.
Bigger things come together. And that's not without imperfections, man. It's the flaws, I have so many flaws, man. Are you kidding me? Too many flaws, actually. But the idea of I just say, try hard.
Yeah.
Try hard to do good. Understand you're going to make mistakes. Don't be a hypocrite. Tell God in the morning, good morning, thank you, Lord. I'm sorry, or I'm already sorry.
Yeah.
I know I'm going to get a lot wrong today.
Yeah.
But I'm thankful for the hours you've given me today. And try to go out there and just do the best you can in this crazy, crazy world.
I mean, that's really all you can do, bro. But with saying that's all you can do, I feel minimizes that. But that's actually maximum effort to a lot of people. A lot of people don't put that foot forward, bro. The discipline and consistency is the fundamentally most important part of this whole situation. I heard, people used to say, especially, when I was first getting started in the music industry, they used to say, hard work beats talent when talent don't work hard. God damn, I've seen that so many times. It's scary. The amount of people I've met in my life that were just so disgustingly talented. Like, every leg up talent-wise, but had no work ethic and were just stuck. The talent's gonna only get you so far, dog. That dude that's up at 4:30, reading, grinding, running, getting his mind and his body right is gonna lap you, my dude. I don't care how talented you are. At any aspect, singing, art, culinary, whatever it is, if you ain't gonna work, dog, you're gonna get outworked.
Yeah. And then those people have the most to say.
For sure.
Seems
They're
like
the loudest.
Like the most to say. I'm like, wow, bro. I'm like, I'm just out here trying to figure out before I even go to the restaurant. That I take care of my body. Am I hydrated? Am I mentally in a good spot? To go lead and things like that. So to me, it's about just getting up and tying your shoes. Because if you just do that, you're gonna be at a massive advantage.
For sure.
When I'm out there running early in the morning, I always tell myself, man, there's nobody out here.
Yep.
There's nobody. You're the only one.
Yep.
And I'm like, wow, what's the result of this?
It's fuel, dog. I said we cooking with rocket fuel, bro. When you're out there and I'm already ahead of these motherfuckers.
Yeah.
Right? It's funny because I'm the same, dog. I'm the same, bro. I wake up and I'm like, listen, I'm already sorry, dog. I'm about to fuck up, bruh. I have to beat that person down the moment I wake up, dog, because I don't believe in myself sometimes as much as other people believe in me, right? So I have to put one foot in front of the other every single day to prove to myself, fuck everybody else. I'm proving this to me, right? So I would get up and my routine was run first, right? And then cold plunge. And then I realized that was making the cold plunge a little easier because my body was warmed up and I was looking forward to getting in the cold plunge because I'm like, all right, cool. I'm already sweaty. This is going to be nice. So I said, okay, nope, no more of the easy shit. I get straight in that motherfucker. 5:30 in the morning, I'm in the 34-degree fucking...
So you don't give your body, you're not supposed to cool down at all?
No.
Like a natural cool down?
I don't give a fuck. No, okay, so what you're supposed to do, they say it's better to let your body warm up after, like naturally, right? Yeah. But mentally, it was getting easier to run and then plunge. Right so away. I said, fuck all that. Plunge, run. Then my body starts warming up as I'm moving, right? Which is it's diabolical. It's the worst way to do it. But I personally need those very difficult victories early in the morning because it puts me in the mind state like you were just saying, Mark. There's nobody out here. I'm what's up? I already lapped you, dog. You ain't even woke up. Yeah. I'm on 6 miles, bro. What's up? Catch me. That allows me to believe in myself like other people believe in me. It's my way, but I think you're kind of similar there, dog. I think you need them victories too, whether it's a cold plunge, running, or just simply tying your shoes.
Yeah. Well, big time, and it puts you in a spot to be able to absorb a lot more, right? Like, whether it be cooking or, and whether it be, creating content or comedy or music, like we put ourselves in a spot to be criticized heavily.
Oh, yeah.
I've noticed that, like, when the body's right, the mind's a little bit better, and, like, you're able to absorb that and not even want to even respond to it.
Oh, for sure.
It's like, it's just like, because some of that stuff, you read it, you go, wow, like, this ain't got nothing to do with me.
Yeah, that's all you do.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I agree with you. It gives me the ability to, bro, to not crash out, bro. Because sometimes, every now and again, bro, one of them comments will strike a nerve, and I'm like, oh, yeah, bitch, I know where you work. I seen you with Bios the other day, you little motherfucker.
Bios? Are you going to Bios, really?
Listen. This might be a true story, Jay. Might not be.
What are you buying at Bios for 3 times the price?
Fucking.
I'm sorry, but
you're right though.
That place is fucking. Anyway.
Okay. Hey.
Anyway,
it is expensive.
It's
Though,
super expensive.
So much for our Bios sponsorship, Jason. But it allows you to be in a better space to where, especially when you're doing high frequency work, right? When you're in a position of like intense scrutiny. Stress, which running a kitchen, I've never done it. But again, I've watched all seasons of The Bear, and you said it's close. If it's even half of that, that is intense. I can only imagine what. So I'm lying. I did work at a restaurant a couple times, right? I worked at Taco Village out there in Grants. And then another restaurant before I quit my restaurant endeavors.
Really?
Selling dope was a lot more money, dog. So put the dishes down and I went that way. So I remember during a rush in something just as small as that, it's like, holy shit, this is crazy. I had 5 burgers and a Philly cheesesteak, and now they want tacos. And like, I remember how intense just that tiny situation is. So I could imagine being in an intense situation like that and not being mentally and physically in the right position. You'd probably lose your fucking shit.
Oh, and 100%. Before I started doing marathons, it's the temper was a real issue for me.
Uh-huh.
And how I responded. Now I'm way more measured. And I can absorb so much more than I ever have before, thanks to running. To be honest with you, and getting the body right, the mind right, and that's not to say that it still doesn't. You still don't, like you said. Sometimes you want to crash out.
Dog.
That's just being a human being.
Got to make sure break that backboard. You crash out, dog. Kendrick said it.
But the idea of getting work and something like, I've always said, to me, like, running is an act of service to the earth. And I think that God always blesses those that wake up early. They say that in Spanish, Dios bendecida a quien levanta de madrugada. So God blesses who wakes up early in the morning. I found that to be true. Even when, like, I don't want to, like, it never lasts for more than like 2 or 3 minutes.
Oh yeah, those are the hardest ones.
Yeah, but once you get up, you're like, oh wow, okay, all right.
Yeah. When you get up, I put my alarm clock as far away from me as possible. So I have to get out. And I learned, and there was another, I was getting lazy about it. My alarm isn't my phone because I can say, hey, I'm not going to say it to set off my phone, turn the alarm off from my bed so that I could stay there. Bro, you have to get your feet to ground and get the fuck up out because it's those first 60 to 120 seconds, my brother, where you're like, nah, 30 more minutes. Just lay down. You ran yesterday. You ain't got to do that shit. You're right. It's that first initial. Then you're like, oh, no, hell no. I was just being a little bitch. I need to get out here and run.
Yep.
I like that. It's a service to the earth, bro. I learned a lot. Bro, it's crazy that you bring up the running, because I don't know, I've told these guys a couple times I run marathons. I don't know if you guys knew that or not, bro. Hey, listen, I do. You know what I'm saying? Came in with a couple of my victories, whatever, bro. But it shifted my mindset too, 1,000%. I hated running, bro. It was not even something that I wanted to do. And right before COVID, bro, I don't know what it was. I can't remember what sparked it. I was like, you know what? I want to run a fucking marathon out of nowhere. I just got the bug for some reason. And I started training, and I didn't know what the fuck I was doing, bro. I wasn't a runner in high school, bro. I played football and basketball, right? And I just was like, let's go. I want to do it. And I realized fast that shit is mental. It is all, and that's what I needed. It's physically challenging, don't get me wrong, but it's the mental aspect that's big time. That's what separates the people that can actually do it from the people that start sitting down. Mm-hmm. First marathon, I was just talking about this before we turned on the cameras. I got to mile 20, brother, and I thought I was done. I had hit a wall, and I was like, how many more miles I got left? How am I gonna get the rest of these miles? Whereas mile 18, I was running, I was moving. Like I said, I was making phone calls. I was like, yeah, I'm good. I'm going to finish early. And then I hit mile 20, and my body said, oh, hell nah, shit. Sit down, bruh. Be humble. That mental fortitude that you build when you do distance running like that is way more important for me than the physical aspect of it.
Oh, big time. I've learned that too, especially in the marathon. You know, you think, I always say, if you're feeling good at mile 15, take a selfie, because by mile 20, you're done. I don't care who you are. Like, if you've done it, you know what I'm talking about. Like, that last 10K is something to behold. Those last 2 miles, that point 2 at the end, it feels like 2 more miles.
It really does.
It does. And you only know if you know. Less than 1% of the global population will finish a marathon in their lifetime. So congratulations.
Why you gotta look at me, Johnny?
I'm looking at both y'all motherfuckers, dog. Hey, you too, brother. Look, hey, we're ahead right here, bro.
Hey, good shit, Len Words for not. Yeah, don't even worry.
Don't even do that shit.
I wake up at 9.
Oh, yeah, bro. So, okay, I want to come back to the running, bro, but I also want to talk about, man, you've been on TV too a little bit, my brother. You ain't new to the cameras, my dog.
Super blessed on the TV stuff.
Yeah, you got to take me back there, bro. How did that happen?
So I first on Food Network, the first show that I did was with Alton Brown called Cutthroat Kitchen in 2015.
Damn.
I was working in Santa Fe at the Inn at Loretto downtown there. And I got on Cutthroat Kitchen, and when I made the finals that episode. When I came back, I've done Chopped. I've done Hell's Kitchen with Gordan Ramsay, Las Vegas,
that one, yep.
Which was really, if you watch my season, it was super, super. I mean, you like drama on TV, then watch Hell's Kitchen Las Vegas, and you get plenty of that, for a long time to come. And beat Bobby Flay.
Oh, yeah.
I've done the Great American Seafood Cook-Off twice in Louisiana.
That's wild, bro.
Damn.
Did it all spawn off of that initial first?
Correct,
stint?
yeah. Because after Cutthroat Kitchen, I'll tell you, whether it be Chopped or Hell's Kitchen or Bobby Flay or any of them, like I've never applied to be on any of those shows. This is the truth.
They reached out to you.
They do. And, it's a blessing. It's always a privilege to be able to fly out and compete at that level.
Yep.
But I'll be honest, you're watching a production.
Oh, yeah.
You're watching a production, and not to go into the minutia, but, it's oftentimes what you put in front of the judge, isn't at its prime, or, it's sat there for a long time or things like that, and there's a massive, I guess you could say, there's just a lot that you can't control, right? So, like, let's just say, for example, like I wanted to go on TV and put this dish in front of you. Mm-hmm. They already know that because they vet you.
So they know what you're going to put in front of you.
Correct. So they'll do things like make sure that like you don't have any of that available. Mm-hmm. So it's just kind of like
That's fucked up.
But nonetheless, it's an amazing thing. It's fun. It's I always say, big caveat, spoiler alert, you're watching TV. You know what I'm saying? So there's that. I've been blessed. I've won some. I've lost more. I've come in the middle, but I'm usually towards the front. But nonetheless, to be able to go compete and be involved and show the energy and the passion, to me, it's exciting. It's fun. But I learned early on, like at least for me, like you have very little control over the end result. You have very little control over the end result. And at least from my perspective, after doing literally all the shows, as a percentage, the winner and versus the loser, it's not often what's on the plate. Beyond there's a lot of different factors that play into that. At least from my perspective, having been on the winning side, the losing side, and the middle of the pack. So I'll just say it's be authentic, be genuine, have a unique point of view, and you'll be in the mix all the time.
And I mean, at the end of the day, it is reality television, so they have to paint characters a certain way as well.
Oh,
right?
yeah.
So they're like, all right, let's control this narrative. Let's make him look like a fucking dickhead, or let's make him look like he doesn't know what he's doing. Like you see, I mean, and we've been behind production.
I'll give you an example.
Get it.
I'll tell you. When I was at Hell's Kitchen, right? It's a season, right? So you're living. There's chopped, cutthroat kitchen, beat Bobby Flakes. You get there in the morning. By 5 o'clock at night, it's over. Win or lose, it's over. Maybe 7 p.m. You do outtakes, whatever. You sit in front of the camera. They send you home. It's over. Hell's Kitchen, you're living there.
Oh wow.
Oh,
let me tell you how this.
That.
Yeah, let me tell you how this specific works. Okay, so for example, Vegas. You fly into Vegas. You get off the airplane, and they immediately take your license and your keys.
So you're stuck there.
You're stuck there unless you can throw the white flag in. But if you do, it's going to be on TV, and they're all going to see you. Just like
They're gonna paint you as the pussy.
Right, just like if you watch the season, I'm not saying no names. We had a few people do that on our season. I wasn't one of them. So nonetheless, they take everything away from you. You're put in the back of a stretch limo. You're driven around the town. Then you arrive in a location that you don't even have no idea where you're at. So they were telling us we were going to go to the airport and fly to L.A. So they drive us to what we thought was the airport. They had this big elaborate setup. We walk out of the bus. We walk into this back of a building, and it's like an airport. They gave us plane tickets.
That's great.
We walked through the jetway. And as we're walking through the jetway onto what we think is going to be the aircraft, we walk onto the set of Hell's Kitchen.
That's crazy.
Yeah. So, and there's Chef Gordan Ramsay standing right there. He's like, "Welcome to Hell's Kitchen. One of you are going to get sent home right now.
That's crazy.
And you got to cook your signature dish right now."
Wow.
So, and close. So, that's how our season began, and I won that episode. But I'll tell you the mistake I made. Let me tell you, it's not about, I won. Let me tell you where I went wrong. So, I won the opening episode. The few after that, I'm leading the pack. And I 1,000,000% got to my head.
Fuck.
Let me be honest with you.
Yeah.
I figured out that, I felt like I was a ringer almost. I go, oh my word, I'm cooking with them, and I just, like a fighter, you just know who you're in the ring with. I go, I'm gonna run away with this one. That's exactly where they wanted me. They played to my ego, and I came out, I showed the chops, and next thing you know, everybody in the house couldn't stand me.
Oh, fuck.
So, but then it's like, I always say Hell's Kitchen is like Survivor meets Chopped. You could cook as good as you want to cook, but they're going to have to vote you off, your teammates. Right? So you think for one split second that they're going to, Johnny, if we're on the same team and we're in the kitchen, you're just circling me, lapping me in running terms. You think I'm going to want to go and vote for you to stay with me?
Hell no, I'm voting this motherfucker off right away.
Because in the end, I don't want to go against you.
Nah, man.
So that began
that
began the narrative of the season. I think 7 or 8 consecutive weeks in a row, they try to vote me out. Not because of anything, not because of the cooking, because if you watch the show, I'm cooking. I'm cooking. But I would go in the house and, get mouthy. I would, and I won't lie to you, they didn't like me, and guess what? I didn't like them either.
Hey.
Okay? And as you saw the season, you saw that. I'm the same Mark that's sitting here right now was the same Mark on Hell's Kitchen, I assure you. That came out. So, but again, politically, it worked against me. But I wouldn't, if I were to go back, you know what I would change? Nothing.
Really?
Because if they couldn't handle just me being myself,
Then fuck them.
and the fact that I wasn't going to play their game, you know what? I stand on my performance. It's all there for everybody to watch, good or bad. But if everyone's paying attention, it's so easy to see what happened. You know, there was an alliance that was built.
Yeah.
You know, but I will just say this, though. And again, just believe what your eyes see. The three that kept voting me out had something in common. And I was very much stood out for something that I looked nothing like them. Okay? I'll just leave it at that. But I was still right there in their face. And the food spoke for itself. And that was 4 or 5 years ago. Here we are. We're doing just fine, aren't we?
Yeah, that's
God is great.
brother,
Yeah,
that is
bro.
wild, and
That's dope as
it's
fuck.
exactly what we've been watching reality television shit. What was it? Real World was like the first one.
Yeah.
So we're the generation really of reality television. We've seen it.
Real
Time and
World.
You
time
know what I
again.
couldn't understand? Oh, Mark's not being a team player. On Hell's Kitchen?
Yeah.
Well, like, no, I need to be better than you.
Yeah.
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 It's not a team sport. That's
So like that
last
whole
man
like
standing,
they try
right?
to make it seem like all. I was like, you
No.
know, but it was. Let me tell you this. All respect to Chef Ramsay, Fox. You know, the team behind them. They were great. But Hell's Kitchen was exactly what you see. It was Hell's Kitchen. It was hellish. It was political. It was nasty, and it was fun.
That's why it gets the views.
Yeah, but it was blast, and
Yeah.
I felt very much up to the task.
That's so
Yeah.
dope, bro. So after that, did it light a fire under your ass?
Well, yeah, because I came back, and
Yeah.
it was supposed to air when COVID hit.
Damn.
So that's when I began running 100-mile weeks. You know, I did 7 consecutive 100-mile weeks. We never closed the restaurant, and that's when I had my marathon PR in Mount Rushmore in North Dakota over there.
Sick.
So like it put me in a spot where like it was like, wow, like everyone's gonna see this, right? So I knew what happened, and I knew how I was gonna be portrayed.
Yep.
But I said, at least anybody who knows you're gonna go. That's the Mark that I know, good or bad. You didn't change your personality. You were yourself. But I also knew that my family was gonna watch that, the community, and it was kind of weighing on me. So I kind of really laid into the running. You know, it was a COVID era. We were doing a bunch of takeout food, and we reopened in January of 21 for indoor dining. And I think the second week is when the season premiered. So we got smacked
Oh,
at
I
the
bet.
time. I mean, it was busy,
Tough.
and I was just blown away at the love that I got.
Really?
At everybody coast to coast was like, thank you for being real. Like, because if you were the viewer watching it, everybody saw what was going on. You know, so like that felt so good. You know, because I was nervous about how I was going to be portrayed,
Right. Oh, yeah.
and I'll tell you, they showed that was the real me. That was the real me. So like I stand by it. You know, I don't have any regrets. And everything I said, I would say it again.
Did they have any moments in there? Because I've seen some people talk about how like the way they edit it out of context, like to where you were saying one thing and you meant one thing, but the way they edited it took it in another direction. Like, did you see any of those moments?
Multiple.
Yeah, see,
Multiple.
that's interesting. They
Multiple.
control the narrative, dog. So
Multiple.
anybody that watches that and thinks it's fully exactly how it went, like, you're tripping. You got to realize this is a production. They got to make it interesting. So they're like, okay, who's going to be the villain? Villain. We found a fucking villain. Right. We got to portray him as a villain. He's got to be as villainous as it gets, right? So that's interesting, bro, that they did that. Did that, watching it back, did it piss you off? When they, like, took your words out of context and made it look a different way?
You know, no, it didn't. I expected it.
Okay.
You know, I felt like I knew what I was going into, and I was pretty measured. Where like any sound bites, I'm going to stand on it. You know, now if they may have taken it from this conversation and put
then
it
put
on
it
next
over
week's
here.
episode, but I still said it, and it's not like a complete departure from what actually happened. They,
Just
you
a
know,
little
so.
bit.
And I was such a strong, again, no matter what side of the aisle you were on, either you loved me or you hated me. But I would say even if you hated me, you would know I was consistent.
Well, I think it might have came out at the right time, right? Because during that time, people were searching for authenticity. We were tired of the celebrity.
True.
We were tired of the bullshit. We were tired of the pretty up. We were tired of the filters, right? I think people wanted something that was just raw and authentic.
Well, it was. I cried. I laughed. I yelled. I fought. I screamed. I threw. You know, I mean, you see it all, you know, but again, I walked into a show called Hell's Kitchen, having watched it before. knowing the chef I was going to be working for in that restaurant. And all I'll say is that, I showed up, I showed out, and Albuquerque was proud, the Bronx was proud, Puerto Rico was proud, and most importantly, so was my family. And I was never disrespectful, never broke any moral codes. I just stood on who I am, and I let them, talk about my hair or how I looked or if I was tall or short. I'm short, but like nonetheless, like when you actually hear specifically what was said about me, it had nothing to do with my food.
It was everything else.
Correct. Just like same thing with opening a new restaurant. Like you read, like if anyone comes after me, they don't talk. It's a subjective thing, and like I've learned to let that be like water off my back, because what am I gonna do?
Nothing.
Mm-hmm. There's nothing. If you have a bad opinion on somebody you don't know, then I know I'll never be able to change your mind.
No, that's about them, not about you.
Correct.
Exactly right.
That goddamn book, bro. That goddamn book, dog. I'm telling you, bro. It's projection, bro. It's projection. Someone has some bad shit to say about you. It's not about you. It's never about you, dog.
Yeah.
I mean, unless you were a complete fucking dickhead, then maybe it might be a little about you. But I can tell, we've met a few times, you're not a complete dickhead, dog. So 9 times out of 10, right? When people got some negative shit to say, it's not about you, brother. It's about them. It's a projection of self.
Well, this is what I always say. Like, even like if someone's talking, not to make it about me or even you, like, let's say someone came to me, Johnny James, ABC, and I would go, how do you know him? When? How long? Were you engaged? Oh, I know this person. They always have somebody who
It's some
knows the person.
bullshit.
Like, they spent no time with you.
Yeah, for sure.
They spent no time with you in any kind of a box. And I've learned that once I hear that, I go, never. Oh, yeah. Of course. He's right. He's right.
Whatever.
I mean, at that point, like, there's nothing you can
You can't
say.
change their mind.
Yeah, bro. I'm glad you brought up the COVID era, brother, because I think we both come from industries that were affected heavily during COVID, right? I remember we had a big tour that was about to crack off, like the month COVID actually hit down here. We had everything lined up, ready to go. I had invested a bunch of money. My new album was done. We were ready to hit the road, and everybody called and started canceling the shows. And then the world got locked down. And fuck, bro, like I had a new album that I was getting ready to promote that I felt like a shithead trying to promote when people were scared that they were going to lose their fucking papa because of COVID, right?
Right.
I felt like, how am I going to be like, I know you're worried about dying, but go buy my new album. Like, that made me feel like a shithead. I think COVID, especially people in industries like yours and mine that were affected heavily, right? Entertainment industry, we took a massive, bro, we couldn't tour. My money came from touring, right? My legit money. I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding, dog. It was 7 years ago, bro. It's just jokes here.
Jokes.
It came from touring. So when that was ripped away, it really forced me, like, inward, right? I had to, which I think a lot of us did. I had to take a long look in the mirror, dog, at who I was and what I was doing, because it put me in timeout. I was moving so fast and doing so many things that I didn't have a time to just breathe and be with myself, right? And during that time, bro, I think I had so much growth as a man, like it was gonna make or break you. And that shit made me, dog. I doubled down, and that's when I really started cracking off, bro. Like going hammer time on everything, bro. It either was gonna make you or break you. So from your aspect, your industry was hit hard as hell too, bro. No dining, like when COVID hit, bro, and like someone that depends on asses and seats, what did it do to you, dog? Were you freaked out? Like how did you handle it?
You know, I felt like we were never going to reopen.
It felt like that, huh?
You know, the fact that we never closed our doors, I was very proud of that. You know, I was at a hotel, you know, not too far from here, and Hotel Andalus, okay? We're in Albuquerque. Let's tell the truth here. You know, I was at Moss at the time and kept our doors open. We hosted a bunch of nurses that were working here in Albuquerque and in Santa Fe, and we'd put boxed breakfast out for them, boxed lunch out for them, and then
That's
take
really
take out for dinner. So we never closed our doors. And what I was doing was, I was gonna run the marathon in Idaho, I think in June, and they canceled it, and I was freaking out about that. And I was going to work doing my takeout, and I was running laps. I would literally take off from second and Copper and run right here to 7th and Copper, go to Central and lap around. It was 1 lap was a half mile.
Oh.
2 laps was 1 mile. And I would actually tell Rosie, the front desk manager, call me if I get a takeout order. She would text me or call me. I'll be back in 4 minutes.
Yeah.
And that was a thing. So that's when I began to just stack my miles training for the marathon. They canceled it. And my son Truth, believe it, at the time, helped me find the marathon in North Dakota, up there in Mount Rushmore. And I think it's the Black Forest or something like that. But that's how that happened. But nonetheless, like I just poured into like my body, and I'm like, I'm just gonna run and run and run, and hopefully one day we get to open again. Because in my mind, I had a lot of crazy thoughts. Like they're just gonna shut us down. It's just like they're done with hotels. It's gonna be a different reality. They kept saying this stuff like new normal.
New normal. Don't shake hands. And then at the end of the day, when it first cracked off, none of us really knew how bad it was gonna be, bro.
No.
There was a window where it was like, this might be the end of the world, guys.
Yeah.
Like there really was a window where I don't care who you were, where you were at.
Well, it started in March, and for me that began like June, July, August. So nonetheless, like I ran the marathon in August. We kept doing takeout. We came back. Then we got 25% indoor dining back.
Yeah.
50% indoor dining. We were able to open the patio by January when the show came out. And again, that's just the Lord's work, right? Like the timing of like the second week of the indoor dining being fully open, the show drops.
Oh, yeah.
And like we never closed. So like I was still doing specials. I was announcing on social media.
So you guys were off to the races.
We opened up and knock on. It was amazing. Busy, crazy busy. But like the fact that like during that time when so many people developed health issues. Some of them passed away. Rest in peace. The fact that I think I found my healthiest version in 2020 to this day. I go, that's what I did during COVID. And I'm proud of that because. It could have easily gone a different, and not to judge anybody who didn't go that route. Everybody has their way of coping. I want to make sure I'm honest when I say that.
Yeah.
But to be able to really, truly, go introspective and find what I was about, find out my limits, and the fact that there were none. To this day, like I pull on that. If I'm having a bad day, I go, bro, remember July of 2020?
Yeah, this ain't shit.
This does not compare.
Fuck,
You're
bro.
doing okay, Mark.
Fuck. I did the same shit, dog, for real. Like, I really did, my brother. I was like, again, it was either gonna make you or fucking break you.
Yeah.
And
It was A or B.
It was A or B. And there's a lot of people out there that are still broken from it. dog.
Correct.
Seriously.
Correct.
I still to this day see people driving around in their car wearing masks alone.
Yeah, they still.
Right? And they're still like it was like so scared, bro. And I landed on this conclusion years ago when I was younger and I started having fucking mental issues that I couldn't really get my hands around, right? You can't press the brakes, dog, right? You can be prepared all you want to and life is still gonna life, right? You can't sit here so worried about stuff that might not happen that you're not living your life, bro, because what kind of life is that? You want to live in a hole? That's not a life, bro. I'd rather not be here, right? To me, it's quality over quantity. Cool, you get to live to 85, but what the fuck are you doing? You're worried about everything. You think you're going to die tomorrow.
Living
You've wasted.
underground.
You feel what I'm saying? You've wasted
Yeah.
60 years of your life so terrified that you actually didn't get to live.
I really
So-
appreciate you saying that.
Thank you, bro. It was a conclusion that I came to through a lot of fucking trial and error, dog, and therapists that thought they knew what they could tell me, and some of them did help, bro. I'll never completely say therapy isn't an answer because it can help you develop tools that can put you in the right place if you listen correctly, right? But there comes a point where it's on you, dog. No amount of therapy, no amount of advice is going to get you to where you need to go. It falls on your shoulders, dog. So if you don't come to the conclusion that if you're that worried about getting taken out to where you can't be around people and you have to cover yourself, even this many years past, and you're so scared, my brother, you need to figure it out because you're not living, bro. You're not living. That's not life, dog. We thrive off of human interaction, right?
Yeah.
Again, it goes to food, sitting down, parties. We are social creatures, bro. So when they took that away from us, right, they closed the doors to restaurants. They took touring away. They took movies away. They took what makes us being human away. That's when I was I'm like, oh shit,
Something going on.
something going on, and this about to be different.
You know, I had a beard down to my belly button during COVID.
Did you?
Yeah, I didn't shave that year. You know, and I'll tell you what, those thoughts were real, but so was every mile that I ran.
You feel what
Every mile that you ran, that was also real.
You could prove it. It was something physically that you could point at, like, okay. And see, I did the same thing too with my boys, right? I'm like, all right, look, they're not telling us on TV that we should go eat healthy. They're not telling us we should get sun. They're not telling us we should exercise. They're saying, sit down, cover your face,
And
shut
hide.
the fuck up, and hide, right? I told them, fuck that.
We're not doing
We
that.
are not doing that. I built our gym piece by piece, brother. And finding gym equipment during COVID was a nightmare.
You're
my brother.
right.
A nightmare, bro. I was like, let's get these fucking pillowcases and some dirt. No, bro, we were going crazy, right? So I built our home gym step by step, brick by brick. But I was having the boys outside. We were getting sun. There was a workout regimen. I had a list right there by when we wake up. You had to do these exercises, boom, 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 before you could do anything else. You're not just gonna zone out on TV. You're not just gonna play video games. And my family, like, it's funny because I even told them during that time, I'm like, we're gonna look back at this time and we're gonna miss it. Because, you know, my oldest son was just getting ready to go to college, right? That was about the time that he was going to move out, but it was delayed. So I got to have him at the house for longer, right? And my youngest son was a baby. So we got to all be together, not worrying about work. I wasn't on the road. Like, their mom wasn't. Like, everybody was like this. And we thrived. And I told him, I'm like, we're going to look back and we're going to miss this time. And it's funny because now 2025, sometimes I'm in the living room and I remember the stuff that we did. I'm like, damn, I kind of miss that shit. That shit was kind of dope.
That shit was crazy.
Well, this morning-
they were forgiving mortgages, like they were letting you not pay
Oh, I
your
know.
mortgage and shit.
They just wanted you to stay
That's
home.
fucking
Yeah.
wild,
Stay
bro.
And I think about that time a lot. You know, this morning I was taking Truth to, you know, he's a freshman at Rio Grande. And he works here Wednesday, Thursday. He's only 14. I'm like, man, I miss COVID. He was in 5th grade, and like, I go around the corner, he's sitting down in his mom's office. She has a little office in the front, and he's sitting there on his laptop, you know, about to get going in 5th grade. Little Journey's about to go in kindergarten. I'm like, you know, I'd go for my runs, come back, and they'd be there, you know,
there.
and like, wow. You know, and now, like, this kid's, like, you know, high school, and, all right, Dad, okay, Dad, I'll see you later, Dad. I'm like, whoa, like,
know.
you know, so, like, that really was a great time, and but look at how great you look now, man. You know, look at your mind, your body, your success professionally, on a personal level. I guarantee you, a lot of how you're living today is a byproduct of your behavior during COVID.
100%.
Because we talked about that boomerang thing.
Yep.
You know, a lot of the times it comes down the line.
Oh, it does.
You know, you're equipped for whatever. You know, and I think, you know, not if, but when. There'll be another pandemic. There'll be probably something, God forbid, but worse.
Yep.
You know, we're going to understand where to go up here.
Oh, yeah.
You know, and ultimately, I think that's the ultimate layer of protection for your family, for, you know, your teams or whatever you have going on, is that they know when it gets really, really insane and shit gets dark, like, this guy's going to ride and do the right things, mind, body, and soul.
Because he stays in those parameters. He stays solid. He doesn't
Yeah.
kick one way or the other. And you got children, you know, and you pass that on. I've said this a bunch of times too, bro. Children, most of the time, not always, there's always the X factor, mimic what they see, right? And if I was some fucking 450 fucking pound slob that just wanted to fucking drink beer at 7:30 in the morning and beat their mom and was a giant piece of shit, guess what their chances of becoming that are?
Oh,
They're higher, dog.
Very
right?
high.
They're higher.
Exponentially higher.
Exponentially higher. They see me out here getting to it, being successful, handling my business, taking care of my body, reading books, doing the things that have made me who I am now. Guess what they're starting to pick up on, dog? Like, we have conversations that said, like, my son Johnny Jr., he's like, yeah, Dad, so I think I need to focus on my cutting. And like, bro, he's like having conversations about health stuff at the table when most people aren't even thinking about that, right? And it's bleeding into everything
big
else.
time.
It bleeds into
so
all of it.
that's your way. You're instilling purpose in your son,
Yep.
right? And again, that's another byproduct of your behavior.
And
So
leading
kudos,
by example.
Kudos to you, man.
Thank you.
You know, I try to do. I try to do the same thing. You know, I every morning running with the boys. You know, getting them out there. You know, it's but again, I'll say this, you know, in just an effort to like not be a hypocrite. You know, I know I come with so many flaws.
Oh.
You know, and like, but the idea that, you know, waking up and going to bed and just really genuinely being aware of like right from wrong and like, you know, like what it means to, you know, to grow into your older years and, you know, and have to be, you know, you're given a set of choices every day to make, you know. And I think what's not talked about enough is that it's not as difficult or it's not as easy as it seems. It can be more difficult in terms of like, again, like we wake up and just because like you might look good or feel good doesn't mean that you didn't wake up and want to stay in bed like anybody. You know, it's the same thing. I always tell, you know, I go, son, like I'm up for you. Like that's one more hour I could be sleeping right now, but you have to go to school at 7. So like we're running at 6 because you need this.
You have to sacrifice.
But then that's me preaching to him before we run. Then when I'm done running, I'm like, oh, thank you, son. Thank you. Because like after I got out, I'm like, oof, thank the good Lord that I have a child to, you know, just by being there, I'm aware. Like, let me at least see, if nothing else, he will see the fact that every morning I got up and I tied my shoes.
Well, and half the time you're speaking to him and yourself, right? I want my boys to understand that too. Like when I'm telling them these things, I'm telling them these things because sometimes it's what I need to hear too, right? Yeah. They're a mirror. So sometimes when I'm telling them, like, listen, bro, stop being lazy. I'm talking to both of us, my dog, because it might not look like it, but I do. I fight it every day along with other tendencies. Like, it is easy to be lazy. It's fun. I like it. It's fucking comfortable, warm, nice. Throw on some Netflix, bro. We're gonna just chill. I'm gonna smoke a joint. I ain't doing shit. That's fun and easy, right? That's an easy pit to fall into. So a lot of times when I'm telling them that, bro, it's a mirror. I'm telling them because I need to hear it too. Same way.
Is it me or maybe I'm the only one? But it's easier to like fuck off 2 hours than work really hard for 1.
Oh hell!
Right? So am I the only one?
No,
okay.
It is so much.
Well, I'm like, how did that time go by that fast?
Oh, yeah.
But like when
You're
I'm doing like, you know, it's like, man, you know, I want to try to hit 7 or 8 miles an hour. You feel like you almost died to do that.
Oh, I know.
But you can just sit there on your phone and like, that's 2 hours. You almost feel, let me go do something.
It's easier.
You start to feel guilty.
We talk about this all the time, and you touched on it too. It's those negative frequencies, brother. Not saying that relaxing is negative, right? Yeah. But those easier to hit frequencies like laziness and just whatever are easier to find, right?
Oh yeah.
Being negative, that's like the first step, right? That's easy. I wake up negative as a motherfucker, right? Lazy as shit. Those are 2 easy frequencies. The other ones you got to work towards, dog, and it's harder to do. Like you said, 7 miles in an hour. Shit, man, this is the longest hour in my life. I just burned 2 hours fucking looking at some dumb shit on Instagram like it was nothing. Time just flies. Yeah. It's interesting how we're like that, but I think it's those frequencies, dog, that are easier to get to, but the ones that are harder to get to they pay off, bro, the dividends, right? The ROI on those are exponential, bro. Man, my brother, the food was fucking amazing for one, bro. What about you guys? What do you guys think? What was your guys' favorite here?
Fire, bro. These bad
Pork
boys.
belly?
These bad boys
Yeah.
are crazy.
Those bad boys
Yeah.
right there. You guys didn't get none of the chicken.
Hell
I got some.
Oh, you did too?
Let me tell you what,
Chicken fire.
only because, you know, you guys both like the pork belly, the consent. Let me tell you why that dish is on the menu. Because it's super important, and I have to say it because it came up. So that dish is a love song to my mother.
Really?
You know, back in the Bronx growing up, you know, she would always get the, you know, the Van Camp's pork and beans?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
We would get those, and, you know, again, very humble beginnings, and she would take that and a canned corn, and instant mashed potatoes, and, like, ground beef. And she would saute the ground beef. She would add the Van Camp's pork and beans to that, and pour it over mashed potatoes.
Oh, shit.
And we would call it grub.
Really?
To this day, I call it grub. So, you know, I always said, Mom, when I become a chef, I'm going to create a dish that's inspired by this damn can of pork and beans. And that's that dish. And it's been on every single menu. True story. Since the fall of 2011 when I was at Sandia, it's been on every single menu. And it's literally a play on pork and beans.
That's the first one you brought out to me when you were over there. That's
correct.
The first one
So
you brought out.
that dish will always go because that's... Even the talking about it, it's the truth.
See what I mean, bro? It's food is art. It really is, and it speaks to us like on a primal level, obviously, because we need food to survive. But it's more than just survival. I think like you talk about food the way that I talk about music, right? It's in my soul. Like I was born to do that. I was born for that to be a part of who I am. Like it just. it ignites something in my soul that nothing else does, right? Other pieces of art too, but music specifically, you speak about food the same way that I feel about that, bro. And because it's art. It's an art form. And before we get the fuck out of here, we get too far, we got to bring it back a little bit. When did you realize that you wanted to integrate the New Mexican cuisine the way you have with like what you would consider, I guess, fine dining cuisine, like someone like you brought up LA, like the way that it's prepared and stuff like that? Did you have an initial like aha moment?
I did. Yeah. And again, going back to the COVID era, at the time, I had been pretty successful out here. I worked at some great places, and had some really amazing accolades and whatnot. But I was at Hotel Andalus at Moss. It was a tapas restaurant, and it was Mediterranean in concept, but I found myself more and more gravitating towards New Mexican ingredients. And it was during that time where, I began to really just have that appreciation for where I was at, the land, the running really made me think about where I was at, do more research. So when we opened up for indoor dining, I really made a pivot towards New Mexican. And I would even tell the team, we're supposed to be a tapas restaurant, but we're really doing a lot of local food, aren't we? Farmers market every weekend, getting involved in the board with them. So when I went to Chaco, it was just more so there. I said, New Mexican ranch. It kind of came to me there, and then bringing it back downtown now. It's, believe it or not, it's still something that I say it's evolving. God, I've never heard of it before. It came from my soul, and to sit here and act like I have it all figured out would be not fair to say that, because I don't think I do have it figured out. I could tell you that it's very exploratory. It's pure. And it's like I mentioned, like my love song to my mother. These dishes are my love song to New Mexico. And all I can say is that they're imperfect, like I am, But we're always trying to fix it. The menu's very seasonal. We change it. We change ingredients. But the idea is just to represent an idea that, like, or the fact rather that New Mexican ranch cuisine deserves a seat on the podium. Pick any 3 cities in the world, and I want to see New Mexico in one of those top 3 spots, whether it's 1, 2, or 3. I believe it to be true. And I think that, I know in my path, I have so much more to learn and grow. And that's my approach and my commitment is to the process. I can sit here and guarantee you anything, but what I can guarantee you is that I'm going to work every single day to try to figure this out further, and be a good steward of the storyline. That's just come before me naturally.
My brother. You're fucking doing it. That's all I gotta say, dog.
Yeah, don't change that for sure.
You're doing it. It's amazing. The food is amazing, brother. The respect for the history, the respect for the culture, and the elevation of it. That's exactly what the fuck we're trying to do too, brother. So we're on the same path, my dog. And I just want you to know, if there's anything you ever need from us, on this end of things, my brother, I'm always a phone call away, and we got to get out there on them fucking trails, my dog.
Let's do it, man.
So,
maybe one day we'll do Boston together. Who knows?
Bro, I like the sound of that. You said 45. That way we got a couple of extra 5 minutes to qualify.
Yeah, a few more years, yeah.
Hey, my brother, Marc, chef, thank you for having us over. Thank you for feeding us.
Man, thank you.
And thank you for everything you do, my brother.
And thank you, man, and congratulations to you. I think you represent all that is good in New Mexico, the way you're able to very uniquely and really brilliantly, make it approachable. I know what you know what you're doing, man. So keep going. And I want to say one thing that stood out to me in this whole process is watching you and your team work. You guys focus on the little things, the minutia, the details. I have a similar trait in what I do. So I could tell you this, proud of you, don't stop. Don't stop, because you got something magical happening. And again, you represent really good things. So God bless you, man.
Thank you, my brother. On that note, can't think of a better way to get out of here. Yeah. Until next time, respect the connect. Peace.
kicker than this.